So then Bhagavan is now going to describe to us the path of Bhakti. So here, Bhakti, what does it mean? Doing all actions, always taking refuge in me. Refuge is taking Sharanagati. By my grace, he obtains the eternal, indestructible state or abode. And Bhagavan in returns gives the grace. With the grace of Bhagavan, he obtains the eternal and the ultimate indestructible abode, which is then done how? He says, mentally renouncing all action in me as the highest goal, resorting to Buddhi Yoga, ever fix your mind in me, fixing your mind upon me, you shall, by my grace, overcome all obstacles. But if from egoism you will not hear me, you shall perish. So now, this may look as if we are talking about path of action. But of course, we know that the path of action and the path of bhakti come together in this way in which Bhagavan is talking within the context of sannyas and tyaga. Remember that he is talking bhakti from that point of view and bringing all these points to make us understand what is it that we have to renounce, what is it that we have to give up, what is it that we have to abandon, and therefore fixing all these things in the context of bhakti means fixing mind upon me, taking refuge in me, and then with my grace and you doing your work in terms of all the actions, resorting to Buddhi Yoga, fixing your mind in me, then this becomes like a bhakti devotion to the Lord. So, filled with egoism, if you think, I will not fight. Remember, Arjuna said right at the very beginning, I'm putting down my bow and arrow. I'm not going to fight anymore. And what Bhagavan is saying, actually, what made you to do this? How is it that you're saying that I'm not going to fight? And you put your instrument of battle on the floor is because of this egoism. Egoism means what? I am this individual who has overcome, who has been overwhelmed by this grief, this vishad. When I look at the kith and kin in front of me, my elders, my teachers, my gurus, and I say, I will have to kill all these people. And you as an individual looking at the other people in front of you, saying that I am going to be the killer of all these people, and therefore it fills me with grief, it fills me with anxiety, and therefore my pathway, my solution to that is I will not fight. Vain in this your resolve, for nature will compel you. So what does it mean? We saw that earlier on, Bhagavan was talking about the different temperaments. And a certain way of looking at this is that the Rajasic tendencies also, there is this Sattvic tendency as well. Why? Because he's coming up with some kind of justification which is based on higher values. And therefore he says, I will not fight because I think, in this case, killing of my elders and so on is not really a good thing. So what his nature is compelling him to do is exactly what in this case he is doing. And then he says, bound by your own karma, action born out of your own nature, that which through delusion you wish not to do, even that you shall do helplessly. In other words, that what we are doing in our life, if you put all the sadhanas away, if you put all the kind of tapas away, austerities away, if you put the control out of the window, then what is going to drive us? What is going to drive us is our own nature, our own temperament, our own past conditioning, helplessly. Because there's no Buddhi Yoga, there's no control, there's no tapas, there's no austerity. And when there is no control, what controls is our inner temperament. that inner temperament naturally kind of expresses itself in the thought, which turns into desire with the help of the mind. And that desire is then propelling us to go out and do our actions. And we are bound by our own karma, which are born out of our own nature, and helplessly we are going and doing things. Which means what? That if you don't take care, then just like Arjuna is kind of being driven by his own nature, will be driven by our own nature, and that means we are going to be bound. We're going to be bound by these actions because they are based on our vasanas, on our inclination and tendencies, and we are doing things according to that. Very simply put, it means I am in the ego operating system, which is managed by my vasanas. My vasanas is the raw material for that machine to keep on running. And if I don't intervene or don't control, then that is my default position. And, it's very hard to get out of our default position because, we are helplessly driven, like Bhagavan is saying here. So the Lord dwells in the heart of all beings, causing all beings by his elusive power to revolve as if mounted on a machine. In other words, the sentiency which we have, in other words, the capacity and the energy and the power to do things in the world is only because the Lord is sitting in our heart. He is the power behind all the Prakriti. He is the power behind all the gunas which are operating. He is the power behind why I'm talking to you right now. I'm talking to you, and that capacity is only coming to me because I'm sentient, I'm awake, I'm aware, I'm in a state of consciousness where I'm speaking about things. And where is this power coming from? This power, Bhagavan is saying, is coming from me dwelling in your heart. So we are helplessly doing things, but the power behind this really machinery, which is being driven at the level of the body, mind, intellect, is Bhagavan himself, the power behind everything. So what Bhagavan says is, fly unto him for refuge. So he's giving two scenarios. One is that either you helplessly keep on doing the things which you're doing because your temperament is going to push you in that direction, or you go towards the Lord and you take refuge with all your being. Take everything of yourself and give it to the Lord. Take refuge in him. And by his grace, you shall obtain supreme peace and eternal abode. So clearly Bhagavan is giving us the path of bhakti, whereby we have to abandon a certain way of being in the world. At the same time, Bhagavan is saying, take refuge in me, because if you take refuge in your own ego identity, you will be in trouble. You'll be bound and helplessly doing the things which you're doing, and you'll keep yourself where you are. But if you take refuge in me, and by my own grace, you shall obtain the supreme peace and the eternal abode. So now here comes the thing which Bhagavan is going to ask Arjuna. He says, the wisdom which is greatest secret than all the secrets, which is the greatest secret than all the secret, has been declared to you by me. Bhagavan is saying, I have given you the greatest secret of this life, this individuality, the totality of the universe, and even what is the substratum of this whole universe. All those secrets have been given to you, and I've also given you the method by which you're going to get away from this ego individuality and how you're caught up and bound by your actions to a state of liberation. I've given you all this secret, having reflected upon fully. Important to note, reflected upon fully, you now act as you choose. See how Bhagavan is giving him all the freedom to make his own mind up and then to choose. Because Bhagavan has given him, because he is his friend and he is his devotee. And therefore, he is giving him this supreme knowledge, secret of all secrets, And he says, now you decide, you choose what you want to do after having reflected upon it fully. Now that in itself, reflected upon it fully, you can talk about it for 10 minutes. We are running out of time, but basically it means there is a whole process of reflection which will bring clarity, which will bring comprehension, which will bring conviction, and which will bring commitment, the 4 C's. That is the process of reflection which you need to carry out fully so that you make your commitment now. And the commitment is what? I am going to now make my choice based on that systematic reflection and clarification, comprehension, conviction. So Bhagavan says, here again my supreme word, most secret of all, because you are dearly beloved of me, therefore I will tell you what is good for you. Bhagavan is kind of telling you, okay, you make up your mind, but let me have the final word. I'll summarize everything for you. Fix your mind upon me, be devoted to me, sacrifice for me, surrender to me. You shall surely then come to me alone. Truly, I do promise you, for you are dear to me. Bhagavan is a very good salesman as well. So he's saying, here is what I've been telling you. You decide. That's not an issue. You decide, but reflect upon it fully. And this is what I'm telling you. Fix your mind on me, devote it to me, sacrifice to me, surrender to me. You shall come to me. Truly, I do promise. I make this promise, and therefore take that into account as well. So then, abandoning all dharmas of the body, mind, intellect, take refuge in me alone. I will liberate thee from all sins. Don't grieve, because I'm going to liberate you from everything. Okay, and this is a famous verse in the Bhagavad Gita, which says, abandon all dharma, body, mind, intellect, and just take refuge in me alone, and I will liberate you from all the sins. And sarva dharma, make, abandon, tyaga, all the dharmas of the body, mind, intellect, and don't grieve, because I will liberate you from all the sins. This is never to be spoken by you to one who is devoid of austerities or devotion. So, in other words, if there is no austerity or devotion, then don't bother to speak to anybody about this knowledge. Don't speak about this knowledge, secret of secrets, the greatest secret, because if somebody is devoid of austerities or devotion, it's not going to be of much use, nor to one who does not render service. So, austerities, devotion, service. If somebody is already engaged in that, then you can speak about this knowledge, because they're already kind of having this devotion and austerity. Nor to one who desires not to listen. Why bother telling people about this thing, because they're not going to even open up their ears to listen. Forget about that. Don't waste your time. And then, no to the one who cavils at me. Somebody is constantly criticizing this knowledge, criticizing Bhagwan. Don't be